You're listening to Nick Luck Daily. This edition is brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis. By Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data. This edition is also brought to you by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882. Hi there, welcome to the show. It's Monday the 9th of March, which means it is Cheltenham Eve. And if you've been to quite a few Cheltenham festivals, like I have, you're quite keen to get here reasonably early. So I got out of bed at 6, got in the car at 6:30, got here by kind of 10 to 9ish. But, you know, when you've got young children, they're kind of shaking you saying, can I open my stocking now in the middle of the night? And they were here already, Josh Stacey and Charlotte Greenway. So in all honesty, I've missed the boat. They've seen everyone, done everything, been out on the course, talked to all the right trainers, and really all that's left for me to do is to say hello and welcome to Cheltenham. And that's about my lot. But you're going to be hearing from all the right people now, and this is going to set the template for the rest of the week, wherever you consume your podcast, and of course every day on our YouTube channel. So you can watch us as well as listen to us if you can bear it. You can certainly bear to watch Josh and Charlotte now is catching up with a man who is set to have a major impact on this week, Gordon Elliott.
Okay, Gordon, well, we've just watched your pretty enormous string out for a canter. A couple of lots have been out. Looking forward to Tuesday morning. How are they all looking?
Yeah, they're all in good form, so they are. All travelled over well. Looking forward to racing, getting going now. Walk the track, it's in good nick. It's good yielding, probably yielding in places. You wouldn't want to see it getting any drier, but glad to see they putting water on it here this morning. But great to be here. And
of course, the big one, brighter days ahead. Is it going to be third time lucky for her tomorrow?
Listen, hopefully she's been here twice and got beaten, but she's in good form and well, so we're really looking forward to it. She's coming off a good preparation, so yeah, please God.
And ground-wise for her, is she pretty versatile? Wouldn't worry.
Listen, I wouldn't like to see it getting too quick, to be honest.
And then El Kairos tomorrow in the Supreme. He's going to kick off the meeting, hopefully for you with a bang. Do you think he's got the experience to deal with that many runners in a race like that?
I do. I mean, around Epperson in the maiden hurdle, there was plenty of runners. He was fine until he fell after the last. He was around 16 or 17 runner maiden hurdle and hurlers. It's not ideal what happened to him, but he's in good form. We're looking forward to it.
And from what he shows you at home, it sounds as though he's an incredibly quick horse. Have you got many horses that can work with him?
He's a very fast horse, but to be honest, he's the form in the book. He's 5th in the bumper here last year. He's a good horse, and we're looking forward to it. And
just, I'm sure we'll speak to you again, hopefully later on in the week. But who else are you particularly looking forward to?
I have to say probably on the Tuesday, they're our main runners. Obviously El Kairos. Cocktail Brute, I think, at a massive prices in each way chance in the Supreme. Brighter days ahead, and then you're mainly handicaps after that, so you're keeping your fingers crossed. And just a quick word on Romeo Coolio, who of course you've decided to go down the 3-mile route with him. Yeah. In your heart, do you think he'll stay? He hit the line very strong in the Drinmore. He won a point well, so I think he will.
Fingers crossed. Thanks so much, Gordon.
Thanks so much.
Well, Charlotte there, just getting the overview from Gordon and leaving us with a bit of meat on the bones for the next few days, hopefully. All important to know how the course is going to ride. John Pullen's had 1 or 2 changes of heart over watering policy over the last few days. And, of course, we've got that move of the final hurdle. Charlotte caught up with him a few moments ago.
Well, here we are on the Monday morning of Cheltenham Festival Week, and I'm joined now by Clerk of the Course, John Pullen. John, we heard from you on the podcast last week. You raised the possibility of watering over the weekend. How are things looking out there?
Yes, we've had to do little bits and pieces of watering. We'd held off on the old course until actually this morning. I was hoping that we wouldn't need to do anything, but it just tightened up a little bit yesterday, a little bit more than we anticipated. So we're just doing some selective watering on the old course today, just to make sure that we keep that good to soft as the main description, and hopefully eliminate the good ground. It would be nice to start the meeting on good to soft all over if we could.
And looking at the forecasts for the rest of the week, on my app it seems to show a bit of rain each day, but maybe falling overnight. How much are you expecting and when?
Yeah, so we're dry from now until after racing tomorrow. Then there's a little bit of rain around overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. Forecasts are indicating somewhere between 2 and 4 millimetres are possible. We're then dry through Wednesday itself and dry overnight again into Thursday. Thursday looks dry through the morning, and then there's another band of rain coming in during Thursday afternoon now. That'll stay with us certainly till the early hours of Friday. So a little bit more volume-wise, but not as much as they had been predicting sort of a couple of days ago in that period.
And something that was revealed yesterday and we've seen out on track this morning is the movement of the final hurdle. It's now between the last two fences on the chase course. What's the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, so firstly say that that's its usual position throughout the season. Historically for the festival it would move beyond the last fence, but we've had an area of ground just on the bend turning away from the stands that sat a little bit wetter than we wanted through the winter, and if we'd put the hurdle in its usual festival position it would have been difficult to find a nice racing line and give ourselves a move as well between days and not avoid that area. So by putting it back to its usual seasonal position, we've got a nice racing line that does potentially give us a move as well if we need to between days.
And so in terms of distances now, how many in yards, how much further do you think it is from the back of the last?
I haven't actually paced it out, but as I say, it's a normal position throughout the season. So jockeys will be used to riding in this position. It's nothing new. The difference is actually at the festival when it comes forward. So it's a fairly standard setup for both courses.
And just finally, we've seen great attendance at Cheltenham so far this season. How are ticket sales looking for the week?
Yeah, really good. Obviously sold out on Friday. It was fantastic, and we've seen increases across all days. That's been the focus for the team, is to see an increase and build on the successes of last year. We knew last year was a sort of a bit of a reset from a customer experience point of view. There were lots of things implemented for last year's festival that we hoped would have a positive impact going forward. And that certainly seems to be the case, and we're seeing that coming through in the tickets that are being purchased.
Well, it's an exciting week ahead. For one, can't wait for it to get going. I'm sure you'll be in the same boat. John, thanks so much. Hope it all runs smoothly.
Thanks very much indeed.
John Pullen there. It's going to start dry, probably get a bit wetter later in the week, and they'd already watered the new course into the first day. So it'll be quite interesting to see whether that ground on Friday is significantly softer than the ground on Tuesday and Wednesday. That's for the weather gods to decide. Big Irish contingent, not just from Willie Mullins, Gordon Elliott, Henry de Bromhead, but Paul Nolan's got a big squad this time. It numbers around 11 or 12, and Josh Stacey was out on hand a little bit earlier to catch up with him.
Well, we're down here on the Gallops on the Monday of the Cheltenham Festival, very kindly joined alongside by Paul Nolan. Paul, it's a big team this year. You must be excited for it.
Yeah, it's double whatever we've had ever, and we're delighted that the owners are after giving us a chance to sort of buy horses that are able to come here.
And as you say there, a team double the size of the normal ones here, but you've had winners here over the last plenty of years. How excited are you going in, or how confident are you going to this year's festival?
I'd never be confident. You're always just hopeful, and they're always very competitive fields, and you need an awful lot of luck and running and stuff like that. But the horses seem in good form, and we're just hoping that they'll give a good account of themselves.
A number of chances on day one, including Iceberg Theory in the National Hunt Chase. I've got a very good friend called Andrew Blair-White. He's a massive fan of yours, and he absolutely loves him for the race. He's got a great profile, hasn't he? Stepping up in trip, and that could really see the best of him. Yeah,
I think that he seems to stay well. He's a very light-framed sort of horse. He's always looks light, but he stays well, and touch wood, he jumps well. And I thought in Cork he hit the line very well. He looked like he was maybe going to be fourth turning in and run a nice race, but he picked up great from the second last, and he won sort of snug in the end. And I think the step up in triple suit.
So you got no worries about the trip at all?
I don't think I've any worries about the trip, no, and hopefully the ground will be lovely there as well. So I think he should run well.
And you've got Harwood in the Fred Winter as well. Were we expecting such a good performance first time out? Mighty impressive.
Yeah, he was impressive. I'd say there wasn't much depth to the race. It was very testing ground. He's a very small sand horse. We only had him a couple of months, and that normally doesn't work out when they come from France. They nearly take a season to settle in. But he was second twice in France, so he needed a third run to qualify for the Fred Winter, and I was expecting it to be third or fourth, and he duly picked up in the ground and he won snug. But a
nice surprise.
A nice surprise, and he got a fairly high mark. In fairness to him, we didn't expect him to be that high.
Was that 132? Was it?
Yeah, 132. Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe he's ground dependent. We don't really know. Normally, Sands need a good cut in it, but hopefully he'll run respectable.
Release the Beast has run extremely well recently and goes in the Grand Annual on Wednesday. Must have a big chance.
Yeah, I think he has. He was a little bit unlucky at Christmas in Leopardstown. He just got into a bit of traffic problems and was probably an unlucky loser. And we're hoping, he never sort of backed up runs. He was a bit inconsistent with his runs, but we give him plenty of time between his races now, and hopefully that'll work. But he's in great form, and again, I think he has an each way chance.
Would he be near your best chance of the week?
I'd say probably maybe the Devil in the Albert Bartlett on Friday is probably the shortest price horse I have over here. He's coming in off the back of 3 very good hurdle runs, and he's probably my best chance.
How do you reverse the form of Dr. Steinberg from earlier on in the season? Is that going to be a big task?
Of course it will. Obviously we would have preferred if he had went in a different race, but there's others in it as well. I think Gordon has a good few in it, and there'll be plenty of chances in it. But our fella's coming in. He's won his maiden over 2, which has turned out to be a very good maiden. He was second to Dr. Steinberg over 2.5, and then he won in Doncaster. And I'm just hoping that the things will go right for him. And we're hoping to give him a race of it anyway.
Latest exhibition ran a massive race in the Albert Bartlett. Does he remind you of that sort of class that latest exhibition had?
He probably, latest exhibition won his bumper fairly snugly. The Devil couldn't win his bumper, but he came up against sort of decent horses, and we think that the horse is in better form. He had awful sinus troubles as a youngster and stuff like that, and he seems to be just in a good vein of health now, and I'd say that's where the improvement has come from. And hopefully he'll have to improve obviously to beat Dr. Steinberg, but we're hoping that the trip and all will suit us, and if he relaxes and jumps well, he's every chance.
I can't wait to see him. A feat of a dancer. Has the decision been made as to where she might run?
Yeah, we're going to run in the mare's race, with Lassie out now, seemingly she's going to go for the champion. We had her in the Stairs as well, we had her in the Coral, and Sean O'Keefe was just sort of adamant that on the old course that would have been happening a bit fast for her, so we sort of abandoned that then, and we just said that we'd run in the mare's race or the Stairs, and with Lassie out going to the champion, we just said that we'll try and our chance against Woodoo and Jay de Grugy and whatever else. There's plenty of good horses and fillies in it as well, but we'll definitely say run in the mare's race.
It won't be an easy task against Woodoo and those horses there, Jay de Grugy, but a slightly easier task with no loss in mouth. I'd imagine you were slightly happy when she was pointing towards the champion hurdle.
Yeah, we were. We probably would have went for the Stairs and took her chance in that if she hadn't. But again, she'll have to improve £10 to try and beat Woodoo and Jay de Grugy on their ratings. But I think our mare, she's in a good vein of health, and she seems to be improving. She's just stronger this year.
Paul, thanks so much.
Thanks a million.
The Devil, one of the key hopes then for Paul Nolan, who's got that nice squad. Another man who you always fear, particularly in handicaps at the festival, is Emmet Mullins. I think he's got 2 favourites on the very first day, including McClory, who's been really well supported in the JP McManus Silks on the owner's 75th birthday, of course, in case you hadn't realised that by now. And Charlotte pinned down Emmet a few moments ago.
Well, Emmet, we've just watched your 2 runners for Tuesday having a little canter round. How are they both getting on?
Yeah, perfect. We had a slight hiccup with the boats yesterday. They got delayed out in the Irish Sea, so we were glad to get them here last night. And but they've taken it in their stride, and they've both eaten up well last night and had a nice little leg stretch this morning. And no, we're happy.
So those ferry delays, how long did the journey then take?
It added on 4 to 5 hours, I think, on it. So I think they set off at 7:30 yesterday morning at home and got here at 10:30 last night. So it is what it is, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, for sure. And so we're just looking here at the 2, Backme or Sack Me with the white face. He obviously was impressive when Sean Boehm gave him what I thought was a hell of a ride at the Dublin Racing Festival. I'm sure you'll agree. He is stepping up to 3 miles 6 in the National Hunt Chase. First time over 3 miles plus. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a trip we always thought he was crying out for over hurdles, and I suppose we were surprised that he was able to cope with the drop-in trip to 2.5 in DRF. It was a great performance, yeah, so fingers crossed. He had a good run here back in October and was hitting the line strongly, so he's had a bit of experience around here, and it should all stand to him.
And is that the way to ride him, where you can just sort of play him late, smuggle him into the race?
Hopefully over the extended trip, we think it's just having him in his comfort zone. and getting him into a rhythm and keeping everything smooth. And I suppose over the 2.5 he was probably a bit on his head, and Sean didn't panic, and he probably got a bit further back than ideal, but to be honest we were expecting that going out, so it kind of went as planned. But hopefully over the extended trip he should be in his comfort zone. Being sharp enough to be able to cope with 2.5 should give him a good advantage around here, being able to jump and travel. So yeah, hopefully he's in the right position.
And then McClory in the plate, how do you rate his chances?
He's an exciting horse. I think he's coming right, but I'd be a bit nervous with experience. He had a run in a handicap at home and it didn't go so well, but he's come back in another novice event since and had a nice run. Definitely would have wanted to cut in the ground. I think his win at DRF last year was proper soft ground, so another slight concern, but I think going forward he could be a horse that hopefully there's a big day in him, but I think the experience this week could just stand to him better.
And then looking at the rest of the week, how many are you expecting to run? What are you looking forward to?
Hopefully 6 runners. Nothing Wednesday. We have 3 Thursday. Dream On Baby should have a nice little each way chance in the Mayor's Hurdle. With Lassie Mouth, Brighter Days Ahead. I think 3 of the top 4 in the betting are gone from last week, so I think she's a tough, hardy mare, and she'll appreciate the nicer ground. Trip would be perfect for her. No, she should hopefully run into a place. I'd be delighted with that. 2 in the Pertemps, Melbourne Shamrock for the Whaley Cones, and Manila Emperor for Michael O'Neill, who's riding himself. So it'll be an exciting day out for all involved, and everyone will be, I'd say, hopefully we'll be happy with places with both. We're not expecting wins, but good runs, and we'll be happy. And then it's on the line in the Fox Hunters on Friday. He's been a bit heartbreaking for the last few seasons, but fingers crossed we can find something to change our fortune.
And it's been a slightly different preparation, hasn't it, for him this year? Sort of tried to keep him fresh. Have you seen sort of positives in his work leading up to the Cheltenham Festival?
His work never really changes. He's himself. He only does as he's asked. We've changed. We left out the Nace run this year and went for a point instead. And he's probably a bit heavier for the lack of the racecourse run, but look, he's happy and healthy, and that's all we can ask for with him, really. I think keeping him happy and sweet.
Fingers crossed this is his year. Thank you so much, Emmet, and best of luck for the rest of the week.
Thanks very much.
All right, a few new sponsors on the roster this year, including in the Arkle, which is now sponsored by Singer. It's the Singer Arkle. Who are Singer, you're asking? Singer Market Capital. They already sponsor Chelsea women's football team, have now turned their attentions to racing. And yesterday evening, I caught up with their Director of Trading, Gareth Henderson.
Actually, this has followed on from Chelsea Women, who we supported for 3 years, saw a tremendous rise in the success of women's football. So we were looking around. We love sport as an organisation. So many reader crosses from the world of finance, and yeah, this opportunity came up. We just think British racing is in a great place, and yeah, why wouldn't we want to be associated with the best it has to offer?
And it's very interesting you say that, because the sport can get very navel-gazing and inward-looking and look at all its own issues and problems, as I'm sure you know. But the fact that you, as somebody from a different world, albeit somebody with a deep interest in racing, can look at it and think, yeah, this works for us commercially, that will hearten an awful lot of people. Is that something you appreciate?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the racing itself is great. If you look at all the attendances and things like that, how it's set up and the infrastructure. But one of the things we like to do at Singers is quite often go against the tide. So felt like this was a good idea, and we really wanted to step in and support.
And now you have your own background in racing. You pointed yourself a little bit, didn't you?
I did. Yes, that was great, actually. So,
tell me a little bit about that part of your life.
Oh, look, I grew up in Newmarket. I absolutely loved horses. But actually, funnily enough, one of the jockeys in the Arkle race, Tom Cannon, very strangely, I went to his mother's riding school, which is very close to where I lived, down in Surrey. and she'd ridden 50 point-to-point winners herself, and she just asked me, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I'd like to ride in a point-to-point. And that was it. So I had sort of 6 or 7 fabulous seasons riding point to point, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And I, in fact, rode in Hunter Chase at Cheltenham as well.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Fantastic. And your chair, Tim Cockcroft, he has a proper vested interest this week, doesn't he?
He certainly does. Yeah, he's one of the owners of Le Conquier, one of Jamie Snowden's runners in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle on Thursday. So I think he's hoping for something big on Thursday.
And obviously, this is going to be brand recognition, across ITV and all media outlets, and clearly people will start to understand who Singer Capital Markets are. But in terms of what it does for you at the event, how important is that side of it, the hospitality side of it?
Well, we're going to have a lot of fun with some clients we're taking down there. I think it's a fabulous opportunity to get really, really close to the action. Look, and in terms of exposure, you've got to remember, even though we work in the stock market, and even though there's all eyes are on the market right now with what's going on, I know that come 1:20 on Tuesday, a heck of a lot of people are going to be tuning into to the Cheltenham Festival. They
are, and your race is always one of the most exciting. So fingers crossed for a thrilling edition of the Singer Arkle, featuring Kopek de Board and Lulamba and many more, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for us, look, it's very important. Whilst we represent some absolutely fabulous established businesses, a big focus for in terms of Singer Capital Markets is really sort of backing the talent of tomorrow. Growing companies, backing them with capital, seeing them through their journey. That's the thing that that we do day in, day out. So having the opportunity to sponsor a race that showcases the talent of tomorrow is exactly in tune with who we are.
It's a virtuous circle. Gareth, best of luck with the sponsorship. Enjoy Cheltenham, most importantly, this year, and thanks for chatting.
Thank you very much indeed, Nick. Thanks for having me on.
Good luck to Gareth and all his team at Singer. Great to have their support here at the festival, as it is for us to have the support of FitzDares during the course of the week. You'll be hearing from them with all the market movers. And today it is the turn of Henry Beasley.
Thanks for having us on this morning. And we're very excited here at FitzDares HQ. It's a little bit like Christmas Eve, right? The day before Cheltenham. And we're looking forward to a really wide open, competitive day of racing. Big fields, competitive fields, just what you want to see on the opening day. And we're starting things as we mean to go on. And we're offering money back as a free bet, up to £20 if your first bet on the Supreme is beaten. That's available for all customers, not just new signups. So head to fitzdares.com, register if you haven't got an account already. If you do have an account, just simply opt in, place your first bet on the Supreme, and we will give you money back as a free bet if it's beaten. We're also paying extra place on 4 of the 7 races tomorrow. So that's in the Fred Winter, the Ultima, the Plate, and the Novice Handicap Chase to finish off the day's racing. And we'll also have a whole host of specials and price boosts up on the site for tomorrow. So just head to fitzdares.com and good luck with whatever you fancy, and we'll catch up tomorrow. Cheers, Nick.
Henry Beasley from FitzDares. Well, I hope that's whet your appetite for the few days ahead here at Cheltenham. We'll be out on the Gallops each and every morning. Thanks to Josh and thanks to Charlotte for being the early birds who very much caught the worms today. We'll be hoping to catch a few more as the festival progresses. But that's it. That's Monday, March the 9th. See you again tomorrow. You've been listening to Nick Luck Daily. Thanks for listening. This edition has been brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis, by Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data, and by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882.